If you haven't been under a rock for the last day or so, then you know that the iPhone 13 was just announced, and boy, is this thing going crazy. So many people are believing that this phone, the iPhone 13, is going to take over the world. All the red cameras, all the RE cameras are going to be extinct within the next couple months because once this phone comes out, it's a game changer. We've seen all the cinematic footage on how you can rack focus. And if you don't know what focus racking is, it's going from one object to another as far as focus. So you may have something in your background that'll get focused on, then something in your foreground. Usually it's people's faces. So the phone is able to do that. And then later you can go in and switch. So all of this type stuff is making people go crazy. And the question is being asked, is the iPhone 13 going to replace all of the cameras as we know them? Is this the new standard of cinema? Is this the new standard of videography, these phones? And I want to answer that for you here. But before I do that, I want to just let you guys know something. What you're looking at right now, this video is from an iPhone 7. Now, the iPhone 7 is not a new phone. It came out in 2014. It's at the end of its life cycle now, but I've had this phone for a while and it still works. It works great. And you're watching me on this YouTube channel. Now, answer this question and be honest. Did you really notice that I was using the iPhone 7 when I came on? Now, some people may have seen the dip in quality, but ask yourself this question. Did it really make a huge difference? Is what I'm saying to you right now any different than what it would be if I shot it on the camera that I normally use? Ask yourself that question. But anyway, I want to get into this a little bit more, so stick around. I switched to my main camera because my cell phone is running out of memory and I wouldn't have enough to finish this video, which brings me to point one, which is cell phones are really good at being cell phones. They're designed to be compact, lightweight. You can slide them in your pocket. You can pick them up and take a phone call on the highway or on the roof if you need. And they're really good at being cell phones. In fact, I think they're better than landline phones. I don't even know too many people who use landline phones. But cell phones are the main go-to if you need a phone. And they're really, really good at being phones. Now, that's not to say the cameras in these phones haven't gotten better over the years. If you look back just 5 years ago, there's a huge difference in quality in the videos and photos that you saw then compared to what you see now. So I will say that things have gotten better, but cell phones are specifically meant to be cell phones. Now you may be saying, but what about all the cinematic footage I'm seeing that Apple is putting out on the iPhone 13? I mean, they look as good as the movies or Netflix or anything that I would watch on TV. So what do you say to that? Well, I'm glad you asked. And that brings me to point two, which is if you look at all the things that are going on in the behind the scenes on some of these Apple iPhone 13 commercials, you're gonna see a bunch of people. You're gonna see people doing lighting, people doing set design, people doing wardrobe, people doing sound, people running the cameras, and you're gonna see people, you won't see them editing, but those people are all in there. And what I'm saying is it takes a bunch of people to make a production happen. Even if you're doing something like a wedding or a commercial, there's a lot of behind the scenes that you don't see. So what you gotta remember is if you start to just only think of the phone, then you can forget about all the other things that have to happen. In fact, there's people on sets, on film sets, that all they do is they just make sure there's continuity between the different shots. What that means is if they're shooting a scene and there's an object here and they go to another scene and come back, or they shoot it on another day, they have to make sure those same props are right in the same spot in the same position. And that's all to keep your focus on the film so you don't lose focus and be distracted by something that's not right. So what I'm saying is all of these people are working together to make this production what it is. So it's not just the phone, it's more than that. The phone is just a piece of gear, which brings me to point three, which is gear. So in the world of photography and videography, the equipment that we use, whether it be lenses, cameras, tripods, microphones, lighting, whatever it may be, we call this stuff gear. Now, I'm gonna admit, I love gear. I love looking at gear. I love reviewing new gear. I like to figure out what it can do. I like to see the bokeh. I like all these things about gear. In fact, I have to be careful that I don't get gas. Now, if you don't know what gas is, this is a term that has been given to people who are obsessed with gear, and it's called gear acquisition syndrome. Those are people who just love to get gear for the sake of getting gear. Now, it's all well and good that we like things, like even this iPhone 13. It's a great device, it's powerful, it's new, it has all these different features, and it's going to open up new possibilities for people who have iPhones. But we have to be careful not to be carried away by the gear, which brings me to point 4. So when we talk about gear, we have to make sure that we put gear in the proper spot, which is, if we solely focus on gear, then the gear can start to dictate our value. Then it becomes whoever has the best gear is the best videographer. Gear is gonna come and go, just like this iPhone 13. It's here, and there's gonna be something after it, and there's gonna be something after that. So gear is always going to advance, but skills don't go away. If you develop your skills, you'll have them. And what the skills will do is allow you to transfer your knowledge onto each of these new devices. Sure, there's going to be new things and new concepts that you're going to be able to do, but if you have the knowledge and you have the skills to be able to put lights up correctly, edit, do your sound, come up with storyboards, talk to other people, mingle with other people, build ideas, this is where the value is. Now, that isn't to say that these things aren't great, like the iPhone 13 or even the Sony ZV-E10, which is another camera that just came out by Sony. All of these things are great, but without the proper skills to be able to work these things, you're not going to get the same results. So that's why this channel exists, which brings me to the last point here. Purpose Lens, this whole channel, this YouTube here, is to help people like you get your skills up. I'm not gonna always push gear. I'm gonna talk about gear because I do like gear, but it's about being able to use the gear, to work the gear, knowing the ins and outs, how to light, how to do your sound, how to edit, how to have concepts, and how to learn and soak up this stuff so that when new things come out, I can transfer that knowledge over. Thank you guys for watching. If you're still here, and to those that have been subscribed, I thank you guys very much. We're growing slowly, but we are growing, and that makes me happy because I know that I'm helping people every time they watch a video. But until next time, I'll holler at y'all later. I'm out. Peace.